Hello folks, how you doing? It's me again, it's Jimmy at Dreadnought Forge. Now, I just thought I'd do a wee video here. The first one went alright there, it wasn't too painful an experience, so I thought I'd do another one there this evening here. Now, someone asked me earlier on, I got a question that's asked many times in like the kind of like knife community, but why would you choose like a custom made knife, a handmade knife? I thought I was just out this evening. I've closed up the production really till after New Year, but I'm just found myself out here like putting the last wee touches on a wee knife that I've made for a friend of mine, a guy called Guy Rossi. I think I would illustrate what the whole custom knife scene's all about. Now, Guy is a hunter. He's an outdoorsman. He enjoys shooting. He out about the fields and shoots and whatever else. And basically, I wanted to make a knife for him to be useful, a utility tool for him when he's out and about. And it's more of the reason that he wants a knife is for processing game, and I want to give him something as well that he will get a smile on his face every time he takes it out. Every time he sees it, he can just put a smile on his face, which I think is a big important part when you're in this, looking for a custom knife. It's a thing of beauty. From my point of view, it's art as well as a utility, like a tool, a piece of utility to make your work easier. This one now, I've made this to incorporate lots of features I believe are important for a hunting knife. Now it's a drop point hunter. It's made from Sandvik stainless steel, Sandvik 14C28N stainless steel. Now this is a steel that was developed specifically for cutlery use as far as I'm aware. So it's designed to have a good edge, retain a good edge, have a good cutting ability, but also be easy to maintain. If you need to resharpen it, it's easy to resharpen. Some of the stainless steels out there, some of the more expensive like super steels, they take a great edge, but they're very hard to maintain, especially for someone who doesn't have all the equipment and all the rest. This profile, it's a drop point. Now that refers to like the way the spine drops towards the tip here, and it's quite a classic design. It's been around for a long time. I became aware of it when looking at the work of Loveless, an American maker, a very influential maker, right from the 50s right through to the 1990s. I believe he's still making right up for a long time. And he was a great believer in making knives that were tools and pieces to be used by their owners, but also beautiful pieces. He favoured like a drop point, I believe, because it was the shape of it lent itself. It suits that kind of processing game. Being a utility piece, be easy controlled, making cuts that refined cuts when you need to, which is very necessary when you're perhaps processing a deer out in the field, out on a moor somewhere. If you see here, I'm running my finger along the spine there. Now I believe that this lends itself, like a blade at this length is about 10 centimeters long, the cutting edge, just short of 4 inches, 3 3/4 inches thereabouts. Now, if you have a blade that's just long enough that you can run your finger here, that means you have maximum control, maximum, like you can make fine cuts, which is very important if you're trying to process like a deer carcass before you take it off a field. You want to make very fine cuts and like run it up between various organs, whatever else, and you don't want to pierce certain things, otherwise you might ruin the carcass altogether. So you have to be very careful in what you're doing. This one here, as you can see, the handle, right? First of all, the handle is quite thick. I've left it quite, you can get a good grip on that. And I believe Guy uses gloves. It's very cold here. It's, damp, cold environment you're working in. You can still get a good grip of that when you're wearing gloves. The handle itself, this is Cocobolo. Very lovely grain. I don't know if the camera can really pick that up, but if you look back through my pictures, when I was making this knife, you see the lovely grain. This is full of character, full of grain, full of swirls, and oh, it's fantastic. I really love Cocobolo. Very close grain wood, very hard wood. This one is, I've just used the wood in its natural state, give it an oil coating, several layers of oil, let it dry, let it harden, and then after several days of doing that, I've applied wax and really hard wearing. The fixings itself, some guys like to use pins. I love these bolts, these loveless bolts. Now these are kind of like a mechanical. They bind the handle scales onto the knife itself. There really is. There's no way of getting this thing off unless you like actually cut it off with a a saw or like grind it off or whatever else. Black liners suits like the lovely grains and stuff like going on with the wood. Mirror finish, I think it just adds, it helps. It has some like corrosion resistant properties over and above the properties of the steel itself. There's quite a large finger choil here. Now, the purpose of that is it gives your forefinger here somewhere nice to rest. Prevents your fingers sliding on to like the cutting edge of the knife itself. Prevents any accidents, prevents you getting injured when you're working, perhaps in low light conditions. And when you've got other things in your mind, you want a firm grip. You don't want your fingers sliding onto the cutting edge here. People often ask why why choose a custom knife? Why choose, what is it all about? Well, I believe it's designing a tool that is perfectly suited to what you want it for. Why you can ask someone like me to make you something that is down pat to what you want it for. There's no extra, there's no kind of like things on this blade that you do not want, you do not need. It's not that do not add to its utility, to its purpose for what it's designed for. With the sheath here as well, it's very simple sheath. Veg tan leather. Simply cut, folded, it's stitched into place. I've got one set of stitches down here, and you can just see there, I've kind of put a good healthy, a good sized welt in here that will trap the blade in its sheath. Will stop the cutting edge of the blade itself, getting at the threads, cutting the threads from the inside. What you see here is quite a secure fit. There's no movement. That's not going anywhere. Even when the leather gets worn, it gets worn into shape, it'll wear with use, but that's still not going anywhere. There's no play in there at all. It's not going to shake out on you. You're not going to lose it in the brush. I know that guy's going to be out and about in the wilds. Like I said before, it's a wet, cold environment we've been working in. I've taken great pains in trying to make this leather as weatherproof as possible. Now, it's a natural product, but beeswaxed it, hot waxed it, treated it with various things just to try and keep the water out as much as possible and make it as durable as possible. A nice wee belt loop on there, 3 sets of stitches, it's not going to go anywhere. Up here at the top, this corner here, a lot of times it's where the most kind of strain comes on the sheath, and especially if you're minds and other things, you're working hard and it's easy to put a lot of strain on there. So as well as like, you know, doubling up the stitches up here, put a nice Chicago screw up here just to keep that it all in place and all, you know, hard worn as possible. I'm really pleased about the way this has turned out. I really hope that Guy's pleased with it. He hasn't got it yet. I'm just organising, getting it to him now, and I think he's gonna be happy with it. I think an important thing, if you have something like this, it's a tool, it's a utility piece, but hopefully it's something that will make him smile every time he takes it out. Have a look at the wood, have a look at the shape of the profile of the blade, and whatever else. I hope it serves him well for a long time. I believe that this thing, it'll serve him for the rest of his life. You know, we bit of care. I'm gonna tell him how to maintain it. I'm gonna tell him how to look after it. We bit of work, you know, we bit looking after this thing. He'll pass it down to his kids. Well, that's all I've got to say for at the moment. I'm gonna get them this before the next few days. It's just before Christmas now. I hope you all have a happy Christmas. I hope the new year is full of joy. I hope lots of good things. I'll probably see you soon. Thanks very much. Bye bye.